Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Tuesday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. Just a few announcements. I am almost finished with my bottles that I'm doing for the Maker's Mark art decoration thing. And I am planning on sharing that with you guys soon. So just bear with me. I'll have those probably up on the community tab before too long. I wanted you guys to check them out before I actually send them in. I just need to finish up a little bit on the outside, and then I think I need to apply some clear coat to kind of protect it. That's what I got left to do. Some of you guys have expressed interest in bidding on one of those bottles. Again, the money doesn't go to me, it goes to a charity. If you guys want to coordinate with something like that, feel free to shoot me an email. One or two of you guys have already reached out with like donations towards that. The way I think it might work is like if you guys kind of like just like I don't know, commit to a bid or commit to an amount or something like pledge an amount. That's the word. Yeah. If you guys pledge an amount or something, then we can kind of like figure out from there how much we've got to bid on something and figure that out. But we've got plenty of time. The auction's not until like April 11th anyway. So stay tuned. I'll try to figure out some more information on that. What are we working on tonight? Great question. I forgot to actually set it up so that I could show you these dogs, but I'm working on two dogs for somebody who's been very patient with me, sent me the pictures of the dogs recently, asked me if I could draw them, and I said, yeah, let's do it. So that's what we're working on tonight. I don't know if he minds me saying, but these are OK Larry's dogs. So like if you guys wanted to give him a shout out, these are his dogs. Let's go to the full view. So I've already kind of sketched them out. Again, let me see if I can. I don't think there's a way I can do a. Well, let me try. No, and I'm not prepared. I'm not set up to actually show you what the dogs look like. So I'm just going to jump right in. I think, bear with me because I didn't really have a lot of time to. Jeremy touches turns to gold. That's crap. Let me go ahead and give some shout outs to people in the room. As you guys can see, I'm not fully prepared today, but yeah, Zeus and Bandit. That's the dogs. These are OK Larry's dogs, Zeus and Bandits. Couple of shout outs. I see Richard's in the room. We got Hater in the room. We got OK Larry with his dogs. We got Tyler in the room. We got Kid in the room. We got Rome Dog. Quite a party tonight. This is awesome. Tom's in the room. Yeah, this is fun. All right, cool. All right, so I think my approach to doing these dogs is I want to do, this is watercolor paper. This is 12 by 18. I thought I'd go a little bit bigger on this one just because like, there are two dogs in the picture. And in the past when I tried to put two animals in one piece of paper, like a 9 by 12, it didn't really fit very well. So I thought I'd go a little bit bigger with this. So my approach here is I think I'm going to start with some watercolor. Just to kind of give us a base coat to work with. I did forget to, bear with me one moment here. Get another light going. There we go. It's a little bit brighter. All right. Again, as always, fully prepared here, guys. So I just want to kind of get a base coat of color down. I am going to do this in colored pencils, just because he asked for it to be drawn. But I kind of want to start with some color. Just so that I don't have to it's kind of tedious. Any of you guys that have worked with colored pencils kind of know this already, but it's kind of tedious covering a lot of area with colored pencils. So anytime I can, I like to shorten that process by coming in and applying some kind of color in some way, right? So like that could be watercolor, that could be like pastels. It could be any sort of thing. And I've tried a bunch of different things. I think the one that works the best for me is applying like a small layer of watercolor just to give me a base color to work with. And what I'm doing now is I'm kind of wetting the paper so that when I come in with this color, it just kind of like flows pretty. This is wet on wet. That's the technique here. So starting with this dog over here, who is a kind of a brownish dog. In this picture, kind of a yellow brownish dog. I'm gonna try this yellow ochre and just see how that goes. I think this is probably a good start. Again, I can always change it later. And as you can see, by applying that water beforehand, it kind of like blends all of this out, so it's not all just like one. Um, it's just good to blend it out and kind of get kind of a cloudy look to the color. Again, anybody who's ever worked with watercolor already knows this technique, but it's good to kind of tint your paper for the pencils that are coming in later. So checking out with the chat, what are you guys up to? Yeah, Zeus and Bandit is the dog. Sorry, I forgot to show the reference picture. This probably won't be all done tonight, just because there are two subjects, and it'll probably take a little while to get them all in there. I really want to do a good job on this. Like, Valeri's been, a long-time viewer, really super nice guy. I want to make sure that we do his dogs proud. Hey, because I can. Do fur buddies. Yeah, you guys were talking about the bottles earlier. I really like how they're turning out. The paintings I've shared on the community tab, I think those turned out really super nice. I am deeply impressed with myself. Like, you really shouldn't pat yourself on the back too much, but I do sometimes when I'm impressed with myself. I am impressed at how well those little miniature versions of those paintings look like the originals. Like, that deer looks just like the original deer, and the owl looks just like the original owl. Like, that is surprising to me. I'm so surprised that worked out that way. But it did, so that's cool. So we're gonna so those are already affixed to the bottle. So I've already done that. The problem is that I want to cover more of the bottle than just the part that has the watercolor paper on it. So that's what I've been working on. Kind of a little bit of a Mod Podge of like paper mache. I think it looks cool. Hopefully you guys do as well. But it's not ready to be shown yet. I'll probably have that by like Thursday maybe. We'll see how it goes. I've got other projects I'm working on this week, so we'll have to see how it goes. So yeah, so like Zeus and let's see, sorry. Follow the chat here. Yeah, we got Zeus and Bandit. I don't know anything about these dogs. It'd be kind of cool if Larry chimes in and tells us like how long he's had these dogs and so on. That's right, about 3 1/4. Is that 3 1/3 years old? I haven't been paying close attention to the chat. I'm sorry, guys. I failed you. I think this is a good post for them. So Larry would know because he sent the reference picture. I did have to change the reference picture a little bit. They were too far apart. So what I did is I kind of scrunched them together a little bit. And I think that looks cool. Hopefully you guys agree. But anyway, just getting a little bit of color in here. I think I kick it up a little bit now that I feel more confident with how things are going. Maybe this is a bit much. Yeah, that's fine. Again, this stuff doesn't have to be perfect because this isn't really the drawing. This is just the base color. But I think I feel pretty confident that everything's here to where I can get a little bit bolder with this color. And then, so this guy's like a little bit of a orangish yellow dog. This guy's like a little bit of a brown dog. I want to say this guy's a boxer. I don't know which one's which. Which one's Zeus and which one's Bandit? I don't know. They're both beautiful dogs. Bandit kind of looks like my bandit, my bear. It acts like a bandit. It's an adorable looking dog. So how's your guys' week been so far? Rome, are you asking how did I duplicate the pictures, the copy paintings? That was a challenge. I didn't think I was going to be able to pull it off, but I spent some time thinking about it and studying the original ones that I did. And just somehow I decided like these are the important elements that must translate over. And I I was just able to do it. I don't know how it's like. I guess I just got kind of got lucky, really. But I am pretty happy with how those turned out. I don't have the bottles in front of me, or else I'd show the progress. I think they look cool though. Bandit is the brown guy. Gotcha. Full blood red bone coonhound. Neat. Definitely looks like a hound. A little bit of white tuft here. It's not showing up on camera exactly the right color, so hopefully these colors work out. But anyway, it's a good base coat. I think that's enough to get this guy started over here. Let's see, probably a few splotches. I do like this wet on wet technique just to kind of disperse the pigment a little bit more than, if I was being more precise with it. Got a leg up here in the front. That's what this stuff is. All right, that's enough to get him started. I wanted to move on to, I guess this guy over here is Zeus, who looks a little bit brown to me, but he could be like a little bit black or gray as well. I'm going to start with like a brown undercoat and then just kind of see what it goes from there. Maybe I'll add a little bit of black to it to kind of make it gray. Again, I didn't have time to set up all my colors. I always feel like unprepared, especially on Tuesdays. Like, it's not like these things come as a surprise. I do these things every week. And, I kind of think about it and look forward to it throughout the day. It's just the day of around. So it's 8 o'clock my time that these things go on. I don't know what time it is in your guys' neck of the woods. But round about like 5 or 6 o'clock, I start thinking like, oh man, I need to get ready for my stream. But that's also like dinner time, so I'm like eating and let's see. I don't know if this is the right color. I'm gonna apply just a little bit. Oh, actually, that's not bad. So it's kind of like a grayish brown. Oh, I should probably, sorry. I need to do the whole wet bit. So I know this looks like I'm painting, but really I'm just applying some water here. Because I wanted to do that whole wet on wet bit where I will not screw this picture up, I promise. Let's see. This is, oh, actually I just did. That's actually a white area there. Sorry. I promise not to screw this picture up any more than I already have. There you go. Again, this is just like an undercoating for the colored pencils that will come in later. Oh, is Tyler, guess what all? What flavor Pop-Tart? I'm thinking Tyler is going to tell us about his March Madness picks because he's been really into that lately. Super into his March Madness picks. Tyler's a pretty cool guy. All right, let me see if I can get this going here. Yeah. See how like when it's already wet, how blended that becomes when you put down the pigment? It's great. I love that technique. Is a spearhead. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys are talking about weird stuff up in here. Zeus is the darker fellow. Heinz 57, mostly Stratfordshire picnics. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I really like doing these pictures for you guys that have been, you know, longtime viewers. Larry's been around since close to the beginning, I think. Maybe even fully to the beginning. Like Richard's been in here since day one. I remember I remember that very first stream I did. I wasn't nervous, but I wasn't expecting like a picture to really come out well. I think it did all right. You know, there's a little bit of nervousness being on camera, and it's not just being on camera really. It's being on camera and expecting to like actually create something while you're on camera. That's a little bit of nervousness. As they're talking about Pop Tarts, I love Pop Tarts. I like the brown sugar Pop Tarts. Did you guys mention that? What is a huckleberry flavor Pop Tart? What? There's no such thing. You guys are making up stuff. So Zeus is this guy. He looks like a Zeus, to be honest. So this stuff is going to get darker, but the way watercolor works is you work light to darks. So I expect this to become darker as I go along. Again, I don't expect to be able to get this all done in one sitting. You guys know how it goes. Blend this out from before. So you can see the difference, right? So this is what I did without the first wetting the paper. You can see you got a little bit more control over the paint on the page, but it looks so much better when it's blended out like this, especially like in your initial first couple of coats. As you get to the top layers and stuff, you can kind of like go a little bit drier and so on. It's got a pretty cool little necklace thing here. It's kind of hard to tell what this is, but it's got a distinct shape to it, so I'm just going to paint the shape. Pop-Tart flavors, Jeremy. Jeremy, we were discussing what I found earlier, metal detecting Native American spearhead. That is cool. Yeah. So I thought that was a rock. How'd you find that metal detecting? It does look pretty cool. I don't know if Tyler put that up on his channel or not, but it is pretty cool that he found that. I never find anything when I go metal detecting. I bought a metal detector just to go, treasure hunting and everything. And I have not used it since. I keep thinking I'll go looking for like stuff around here, but then like I'm not really sure like where. I guess you can go to parks and look for loose change that people have dropped, things like that. But as far as like actually finding treasure, I don't really expect to. All right, I think that's a pretty good start. So sure, it looks a little bit smoky at the moment, but that's just because we're just getting started. Again, as much color as I can get in with the watercolor, I think that's going to save me some time when I come to the yellow, colored pencils. The colored pencils, I really want to just be for like details. Plus, I also just kind of want to practice with watercolor. I always mean to get better at it, but you guys know how it goes. My 14-year-old dog that Jeremy drew is part Staffordshire. Is it Staffordshire? Staffordshire, not Staffordshire. You guys have the best dogs. I appreciate you guys letting me draw and paint and work with your dogs. They are some cuties. I I like the ear of these type of dogs. It's like so velvety. Yeah, I think that'll work. So the whole goal here is to get as much of that tonal value as you can in with the watercolor. And then you can just come back and add detail with your colored pencils later. So if I can get a face in here to the best of my ability. Tyler, I'm sorry, like I didn't really have time to reply to your message earlier, but that is really cool that you found that. That is awesome. Again, there ain't nothing around here. It sucks. I think we had like Native American activity back around here and stuff. It's just for some reason I can't ever find anything. I like this color. All right, sometimes I get lost in colors and things like that. That's a pretty cool color. The puppy playing with the laser pointer under my curio cabinet. My girls ended up chewing it to pieces. Oh, I don't know if you've ever, or maybe I just didn't catch it. Did you ever mention what kind of dogs you've got, Richard? Unless you mean like your human girls. You know. I think you might have mentioned having dogs. I'm not sure. I think some of the pictures. Oh, thanks, Larry. I appreciate that. Yeah. Um Rome was a snappy man. Everybody's got the same kind of dog. They look like boxers to me. Is that just me, or is like anybody else get like a buddy of mine had a boxer. I really love that boxer, and I think I think it was different colors than what you guys got and stuff, but they had very similar features. You can see like when you have water on this, like there's a reason they call it watercolor painting. It follows the water. Um, so if you already have some water on the paper, it's going to try to fill in that space. And if you don't have water and you kind of smear it around, it's going to follow like the water that you're putting down. And it's really interesting. It really is like painting with water, and it just happens to be colored, so it's like watercolor, but it is kind of fascinating from that standpoint. So I think I'm just going to put in like a massive nose and then sort out the details with colored pencils later. Because otherwise, like I don't have a lot of skill with watercolor yet. I'm still working on it. Zeus is mama protector. Bandit's a daddy's boy. Oh, I was just thinking about my own dogs recently. Like Guinness is getting up there in years. Like he's not a spring chicken anymore. And then Bear is kind of still a reasonable age. So I always worry. They're so like they're so much brother and sister. They really are. That I couldn't picture either of them being separated. Like if one had to live without the other, that just makes me sad. Like that makes me more sad than like losing one of them, or it makes me sad to think of like one having to live without the other. Like they're over here, like they don't like the idea. I hate the thought of that. I've just seen so many pets pass away in recent years that like my parents just had a dog that passed away recently, and it just kind of weighs on my mind. But I try not to dwell on those type of things, but they still kind of linger. Oh, I have pictures of my dad's bottles, by the way, and I forgot to share those. His actually look really cool. They're like sculpted. I showed you something he made that wasn't for this contest, but I need to share with you guys the actual bottles he made. He's a pretty cool guy, my dad. Yeah, he's still treating it as like a contest. I keep showing him the progress I'm making on my own bottle, and I'm like, so do you think my bottles are better than your bottles yet? So I don't know who's treating it more like a contest. Maybe I am. Got fox terriers. Back in the day, if you had a horse, you had a working dog. Most of these were pit bulls. Huh. Oh, because they were blue collar dogs. Oh, put this up here. The lighting in this reference picture is really nice too because you automatically get the contrasting bits. And this all side would be dark. Again, when doing watercolor, which, I'm just going to call this a watercolor picture until I actually come in and actually start adding pencil. When doing watercolor, you do work from like the lights to the darks because it is a transparent medium. So, you know, it's not like you can do dark and then come back in over it with like a light color. It's just not going to show up. So you start with your light areas, and then you kind of like build up some darker areas. That's the way of it. And it really doesn't change anything that you plan to come back and add colored pencils later because you're still putting down like a foundation. Let me move Geppetto here. Sorry, Geppetto, you're in the way. I think if I got another dog, I might name him Geppetto. That'd be cool. Thin this out. This looks a little bit dark. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll with it. This looks fine. All this area over here is gonna be pretty dark. Did anybody do see you guys still talking about the dog? Anybody do anything interesting for St. Patrick's Day? I was planning on doing a live stream. I really was, but I kind of got sick over the weekend. In fact, I didn't get to do anything. I was wanting to go to the parade. I was wanting to go to the pub. Well, I did go to the pub and kind of like lingered on the periphery so I wouldn't get anybody sick. I don't know if I was sick because of like a cold or if I just had like really bad allergies because I get both. But like my nose was dribbling and things like that. I couldn't tell which it was. So I didn't really want to get anybody else sick, so I kind of stuck it. Like they have a patio outside. That's where I went out. I just wanted to make sure I had a Guinness, beer, just to say that I did for St. Patrick's Day. But I wasn't really feeling it. I was going to do like a live stream, but my nose was leaking all over the place. It wasn't a pretty sight, so I didn't do it. But did anybody else have like a really cool St. Patrick's Day? I hope you guys did. Like I know that like not everybody celebrates it, but you know, it's still a cool day. I don't know about the whole mythology of it and everything like that, but as far as just celebrating being Irish or like just just celebrating the Emerald Owl, even if you're not Irish. I like the music. I like the old, whack for me daddy o kind of music. And what are some of the other Irish songs? I can't think of any off the top of my head. Whiskey in the Jar. That's the name of that song that I was trying to poorly attempt. I like that kind of music. It just makes me feel good. Old pub songs. There's a there's a really good band around here. I think the guy is from Ireland. I'm not really sure, but he comes out and plays at least during St. Patrick's Day, and sometimes he shows up at the pub other times. And whenever he's there, it's just a really good time. You know, made corned beef hash. Nice, nice. Um, I bought some corned beef hash in the past and stuff, and I think it would probably be better if it was homemade than Flogging Molly. There you go. This guy knows his stuff. Flogging Molly is an excellent band. The Pogues is an excellent Irish band, but yeah, Flogging Molly, that's great music. Um, the Cranberries before she passed away, another Irish band, great. Back to the corned beef hash. Uh, have you ever had it in the can? It's just so salty. It's like so full of sodium. It's It's a little bit ridiculous, but it's always better like when you make homemade stuff. Because like if you get it from the can, man, that stuff is just like that stuff will preserve you. Like try a bit of that stuff, you're gonna last forever. Mummified. That's what my bottles look like with the paper mache around it. It's kind of taking on this look of the old stoneware kind of moonshine bottles, you know, where it has like kind of the clay bottom and so on. Anyway, I'll just show them to you guys. I think you guys will appreciate it. I have learned. I have learned. So this has nothing to do with anything, but I have learned that I enjoy painting more than I enjoy the craftiness of putting a painting on a bottle. Because that's arts and crafts there. You know, like applying um, a drawing or a painting or something to the bottle. That's arts and crafts. Like that's basically you got some glue and you're trying to like apply it and then you're trying to seal it and all that stuff. That's not fine arts, in my opinion. Um, that said, I'm finding I'm not enjoying that bit of it. I enjoyed making the painting. Affixing the labels to the bottle is not as much fun. When you corn beef it is salty, is for preservation. Ah, that makes sense. So like it is salty when you get like just a big old slab of corned beef and you cook it in like a crock pot or something like that. But it's not as salty as that stuff that comes out of that can. That stuff that comes out of the can is just like really salty. Or at least to my taste buds. I don't know. I guess probably everybody's different, but that was my impression. I think we got a pretty good face going over here on this guy. I need some. So what's cool about the colored pencils that we're going to apply later is that they are wax based. So one of the reasons they work so well with watercolor is like say I miss a spot, like there's some tonal value in here that I look at later, like oh man, I left this part white and this should really be gray or something. I can come back over my colored pencils if I wanted to. So that's cool. So you get a bit of. I mean, this is starting to look like Zeus. I know I really should have showed that reference picture to you guys. I am so sorry about that. You get just a few more features in here, and then I think I'm going to switch over to the other dog, Bandit. Outro Precone. Richard's over here doing Harry Potter spells. Outro Precone. I don't know what that means. I assume that has something to do with the corned beef from context or lack of context, I guess. Outro Precone. It's Leviosa. Sorry. Oh, I still got to get Mama Q's Harry Potter picture out there. I suck at getting pictures out in the mail. I just finally got Rome Dog's picture out in the mail to him, even though I did that like weeks ago. So if anybody's waiting on anything for me, I am so sorry. I suck. These are like little rolls in the back of his. I think it's so cute. This is he's got a pound puppy nature to him. Like you just kind of want to just roll him up, I guess. Let's see, a little bit of gray down here. Kind of comes to right about here, and then oh, this actually kind of comes back over this way a little bit. I have to work on that. All right, I'll have to sort out the distance there. All right, so I'm good with that guy right now. I'm gonna move over to this other guy where I kind of want to get a little bit of brown in his face. See if I can mix these colors right. Do brisket with cabbage. So usually I didn't do it this year because again, I felt like I was under the weather. I didn't really feel like doing anything. It kind of sucks because I'm really into um, St. Patrick's Day too. I wanted to make sure I had a Guinness just so I didn't let the year pass without acknowledging St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, usually what I do is I do the corned beef and cabbage in like a crock pot and just kind of like let it cook all day and make the house smell good and stuff like that and kind of just lump it all together. I just love corned beef. Like I'll eat that on sandwiches. I love Reubens. Although I think Reubens are more of a German thing. I don't know. I may be saying that just because of the sauerkraut, but I do love me a good Reuben. Um, it kind of pains me that there's no place to go and get. So like usually there's a place to go and get something, right? So like when my when that church changed their fish recipe, I'm like, oh man, where am I supposed to go to get my fish sandwiches now? And you guys came through. A lot of you guys recommended different places. One of them was Culver's, and Culver's has got perfect fish. I love their sandwiches. Their fish sandwich spot on. The only difference between Culver's menu and what I got at that church is there's no hush puppies there, so that's kind of disappointing. But without the hush puppies, it's spot on. It's perfect fish. I don't feel like there's a good place that I know of. Maybe you guys have a recommendation. Just a good general place where you can go and get a Reuben. I feel like Reubens are specialty things that you have to go to like a deli to get a really good Reuben. But I love me a Reuben sandwich. Those things are so good. Just the flavors are all there. The corned beef, the sauerkraut, the Thousand Island dressing, or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. It makes me think of Thousand Island dressing. Maybe it is. Um, that combination is a winner. That is the best stuff. And if you don't agree with that, that's fine. It's okay to be wrong. You guys should feel comfortable being wrong because you would be wrong. Ribbons are the best. Let's see. Getting a little bit of detail in there, which is cool. The more detail that I get in here, I'm telling you, I've done enough of these colored pencil drawings to know that if I don't get a lot of color in beforehand, like I was doing Higgins the other day for my buddy Cabin, and I still haven't finished that one just because there's so much colored pencil that you have to get in if you don't do this bit. I might actually redo Higgins to where I come back and, do a watercolor picture first. It's either watercolor or pastel. I would probably prefer. I know this seems weird because like so I do have some followers who come here just for the art, right? So like I have to I have to remember that sometimes I'm talking to them and not just to you guys, right? Um, so for those guys who care about the art, I prefer to do this base coloring and pastel pencil. I know that sounds weird because I'm sitting here doing it in watercolor and it's like, well, you can do whatever you want. So why are you doing something that you don't prefer to do? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked my rhetorical question. Um, so I prefer pastel pencils just because I like drawing with pastel pencils. I like blending with them. I like how you can just kind of like smudge them and you have a lot of control over them, all of that stuff. I don't feel that same sort of comfort with watercolor. All right. So I should throw that out there. You could do it with either. I just have more experience and I prefer doing it in pastel pencil. I feel like I can get the kind of detail I want to get out of pastel pencil. Now, the second part of the question is, well, why am I doing watercolor? Great question. I have found that pastel pencil, when you go to seal it, is a pain in the butt. So when you go to apply fixant to it, for some reason, I can't seem to get enough fixant in there to where it's really locked in, and I feel comfortable mailing it to somebody unframed, right? So like if it's framed and you have it all sealed up inside of like under glass and all that stuff, that's a little different story. But if I'm mailing a picture that's largely chalked to somebody and I can't get it sealed correctly, and by seal I mean like you know, sealed to where you touch it and it's not going to smear, and where all the colors are locked in, all the features are locked in, and pieces aren't going to flake off or come off during the mailing. It is basically like a chalk, so you don't want any of that powder coming off, any of that business. If I don't feel comfortable doing that and sending it to somebody, I don't want to do it. So that's why I'm doing this, because I do plan on sending this to Larry. Um, so that's why I'm doing a watercolor. I feel like watercolor I can like package up and send to them, and it's not going to like lose any quality or anything like that. If you're doing art for somebody that you plan to mail to them, watercolor. In my opinion, of course, you may know something I miss on how to like actually properly apply fixing to a pastel picture, but I have not been able to do it to a point where I feel like I'm comfortable mailing a pastel picture to somebody. I have done it, but it's always been like, man, I'm so worried that that picture is going to still be in good condition when it arrives. I don't feel that way about watercolor. I feel like I can apply some colored pencil to this. I can kind of like seal it up and everything. And I can mail it off and it'll be fine. So that's why I'm doing this. For a good Reuben, you have to come to my neck of the woods. I live near Helen, Georgia. Oh, you live near Helen, Georgia. I've been to Helen's, Georgia. I've been to Helen's, Georgia many times. I love Helen's, Georgia. I went to Helen's, Georgia as a wee little Jeremy in the Boy Scouts. Helen, Georgia, for those who don't know, is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's designed to be like an alpine village. Um, back in this, I think it's been around since the 70s, but back during the 70s, they all came together and said, hey, we want to do this kind of gimmick thing to increase tourism. And they stuck with it ever since. They literally designed this entire city to be like an alpine village. And they got the best stuff there. They've got the best chocolates. They've got the best candies. I'm trying to remember all the stuff. It's been like 10 years since I've been there, but I know Helen's, Georgia. I love Helen's, Georgia. I've never had a Rubens from Helen's, Georgia. I feel like I missed my turn. I didn't know that's where you were, kid. That's cool. I love it. Yeah, I've got some photos of me as like a little kid there in Helen's, Georgia. It's great. Last time I rolled through there, I think it was like 2009, and I was actually visiting family in South Carolina and decided to take the really long way home. And because I had been to Helen's, Georgia as a kid, I was I was like, hey, I was actually traveling with my dad. So I was like, hey, what do you think about going through Helen's, Georgia? It's going to add like 15 hours to our drive, but I think it's worth it. So we did. And I think that's the last time I went there. I don't, it's so weird because like I would ask you like, what's changed? But I know nothing's changed. Like it is the same as when I was a kid. Um, like in 2009 when I went there, it was the same as like when I was a kid and went there back in, I don't know, like the late 80s or something. And yeah, it's a little great gem there in the Georgia mountains. Um, just kind of like I'm trying to think if there was. I mean, you would know better than I do, but I don't think there's anything else around there. It's just basically like Helen's, Georgia, just out in the middle of nowhere, and mountains and stuff around it, and that's all there is to it. Like I'm trying to remember where it was in relation to Dahlonega, because like I've been to Dahlonega, like trying to like pan for gold and stuff like that as well. Um, but anyway, yeah. So we used to live in Riverdale, Georgia, just south of Atlanta. Um, and because I was in the Boy Scouts, we traveled around to all these like touristy things. So yeah, I'm very familiar with Helen's, Georgia. I love it. Again, I think I'll figure out this nose with the colored pencils. Most of the nose is just like details and stuff like that. It's easy to go awry. There are people out there who are really good at watercolor who can like knock out a dog nose like no problem. But I think I would struggle with it. But I think that's a good start to the nose. All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're only 45 minutes in. Cool. I want to make sure I get to the colored pencil part so I can get some of these details in here so it's not just a big mottled mess. Super hungry. Let's make a corn dog. Sounds close. I was talking to somebody, so like somebody asked what hush puppies are, and I assume most of you guys probably know what hush puppies are. Um, but they had no idea. And I was trying to figure out a way to explain it. And I was basically, and I went and looked up like, I mean, I know what a hush puppy is. I know it's cornmeal and everything like that, but I didn't know how to explain it. So I looked it up and I saw they would like, yeah, it's just fried cornmeal and stuff. And I'm like, well, it's basically a corn dog without the corn dog. I mean, without the dog in it. So it's a corn dog without the dog in it. And they seem to understand what that meant. So, like, actually, he might be in here. Tom might be in here. But yeah, it's just a corn dog without the dog. Yeah, I like Bandit. Bandit looks cute. Bandit reminds me of my dog. I feel like Zeus is the kind of dog that I would enjoy hanging out with too. But Bandit looks like my dog. There's this bit underneath the eye that kind of comes down and around. I am kind of hungry too. In summer, they have tubing down the river that goes through Helen's. Yes, yes. I never got to that because, again, I was just passing through as a tourist. But I can imagine that, like, if you lived there or you were visiting for a couple of days or something, that's a must. Now, I did go walking in that river because it's pretty shallow, actually. At least the part where I was. I don't know. Maybe I was like at a creek part of it. But anyway, point is, I went walking in it while I was there, and it's so cold. Or maybe it's just the time of year I went through, but it was so cold. It's that mountain cold water. It's great. There's nothing bad about Helen's, Georgia. I love Helen's, Georgia. I'm surprised not that many people know about Helen's, Georgia, too. I would think that it would be more of a, well, maybe it's different down there, but I would think that that would be more of a destination. Like even people up here in Kentucky, it's not that far away. I think people should travel from here to there just to experience it because it is like going to Germany or the Swiss Alps or something like that without ever having to travel that far. I mean, you're still traveling, but you're not like getting on a plane or whatever. Well, you could get on a plane. You know what I'm saying. You're not going to Germany for it. Long John Silver's. That sounds good for fish. All right. Let's see if I can get a little bit of a definition over here. Sorry to reach across my picture like this. I always feel like I have to apologize whenever I'm obscuring the picture for some reason. Like whenever I reach across. I don't know why I apologize to you guys. You guys don't seem to care at all, like whatever I do. But I don't know. Just try to be courteous, I guess. Let's say this isn't looking bad for. I should just do this entire picture in watercolor. Like this isn't turning out too bad. Oops, a bit dark. I need paper towel around here. All right. It's a nice break, I think, to work in watercolor. Having done a bunch of coffee paintings, because some of there's some overlap in the skills, but I have found that they're not the same. It is not the same to paint with coffee as it is to paint with watercolor, which is weird because you would think you're basically using the same tools, you're using some of the same methods and stuff. All of that's true, but there's some differences, and one of the differences, you basically have to work in very thin layers with coffee versus watercolor. You know, you can kind of use thin layers, but that's not really what it's about. Um, in coffee, you have to work with thin layers, and then you have to wait until the end to add any kind of detail, really. I do like the ability to like lift and kind of erase That's kind of a new technique I've been trying lately. Like, there's people out there who's been watercolor painting forever, and they're stuff, and like they see me doing these things, and I'm so fascinated by learning them for the first time that they're like, "That's so stupid, Jeremy. Everybody knows that you can kind of erase by using clear water." But to me, it's not. I'm not in the habit of doing that, so it's always fascinating to me. Um, for those of you guys who are new, I am not a skilled artist. I am still learning, or like, eh, I shouldn't say I'm not a skilled artist. I'm still a student. I'm not a master, especially when it comes to watercolor. Every time I go to do a watercolor picture, it's like, maybe I'll turn out all right. Maybe it won't. I think this one's turning out pretty good. Get some fur. Get some fur down here. I'm not sure what I want to do with the background. So the background on this is like a red, um, kind of fluffy blanket. It looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll go with that, but it's a lot of red. I don't know if I want to. Yep, it's always cold in summer too, and went a couple of months ago, and it was pretty crowded, but it's crazy crowded during Oktoberfest. Yes, I can imagine. Honestly, so like I live I think I mentioned this several times, but I live close to Cincinnati, which has a large German population, and they have a really great Oktoberfest. In fact, they're in the Guinness Book of World Record as like having the largest chicken dance for like a Oktoberfest. Um, so it's a big deal, and I've always enjoyed going to their Oktoberfest. But a close second, I think, would definitely be a place like Helen's, where they're really into the whole Bavarian culture and so on. Like, it's so funny because we're just coming off St. Patrick's Day, where like, and I always make the joke that during St. Patrick's Day, I'm Irish. During Oktoberfest, I'm German. But there's some legitimacy to that. So, like, my dad's side of the family is all Irish, and my mom's side of the family is actually German. So I get to make that claim that I'm a German during Oktoberfest as well. So, but I would love to go to Helen's, Georgia for Oktoberfest. I'm sure that's great. All right, I felt like this is in a good spot to where I can kind of let some of this dry and then, continue working on it. I did want to get into some of the colored penciling. Um, yeah, because we're coming up on like an hour here. I think that it'd be nice to at least get some of the eyes in. Hey, Steve, how's it going? I really wish I had put up the reference art that I'm working on because I'd like to be able to show you and compare, but I just didn't do it. I just suck at preparation for these things, guys. Sorry. Cinco de Mayo, you're Mexican. That's great. I saw a. I don't feel like this is political, but I'll go ahead and say it. I try to keep it like pretty friendly on this show. But some guy was talking about how like people get to pick their own pronouns and things like that nowadays. I don't really have like a strong opinion on that. I think that people should just do whatever they want. I mean, it's their business, it's not mine. But this guy made a joke about how like, well, if you can pick your own pronoun, can't you pick your own race, right? So like if it's if it's Cinco de Mayo, can't you choose to be Mexican just for the day? I think so. Yeah, I think you can. Like I don't mind pretending to be Irish for the day of St. Patrick's Day. Do I have Irish in my blood? Yeah, probably. Like I think the genealogy is true that I have some Irish in me. But you know what? When St. Patrick's Day comes around, none of that matters. It's all about having a good time, and I choose to be Irish. So yes, on Cinco de Mayo, I will choose to be Mexican, and I will do that unapologetically. I feel like people can do that. It's not a big deal. Oh, hey, Mama Q. Got Steve up in the house. Man, Tuesdays are always the big parties. Like, that's when you guys really show up, represent. Steve showed up, I think, because we were talking about Cincinnati's Oktoberfest. Uh, Steve is very familiar with Cincinnati, so. But yeah, I love Oktoberfest in Cincinnati. They go all out. Um, Again, large German population. I grew up in high school in Cincinnati, and one of the things I remember is you guys really don't know what I'm talking about when I say over the Rhine, unless you lived in Cincinnati or traveled through Cincinnati or something like that. But over the Rhine used to be a really bad part of town. Like when I was younger, it was like the slums. I mean, like there's that movie called uh, I forget what movie it was, but they actually filmed part of it in Over the Rhine, and basically, the film made it out to be like they were all just like crack houses and things like that. That's a true story. That's what they were back when I was a kid. In fact, when I was a teenager, I used to skip school and catch a bus downtown and everything, and I would go. I had some Korean friends that had a shop down there, and I would skip school, go and hang out with them and stuff, and just get up to no good and everything. And it was a really shitty part of town. Now, the thing is, way back in the day, it was actually the really, really nice part of town. Over the Rhine was where the German immigrants, all the rich German immigrants, would live. So basically, Cincinnati is set up where it's like kind of in the valley of a bunch of hills and stuff. They're called the Seven Hills, and the rich immigrants used to live there in Cincinnati in Over the Rhine. But, and here's the funny thing, and here's why it was actually called Over the Rhine. So the Rhine River in Priscilla is in Over the Rhine. I believe it. I actually did. The reason why it's called Over the Rhine is because those German immigrants said that the viaduct that went through the heart of Over the Rhine, that came off of the Ohio River and brought water in, and also brought in like transportation, like riverboats and stuff like that. They said it reminded them of the Rhine River back home. So that's even where you get the name Rhine River, is like the German culture there. Now, the thing is, the markets there, that it was all like, basically like pig farming and bringing pigs to slaughterhouses and things like that. So there was a smell to it. And that's why they eventually ended up moving up into the hills and then kind of abandoned Over the Rhine. And it kind of became the slums. But the funny thing is, when they go in there to remodel, they still find these like really expensive mantelpieces and all this ornate fixture, because it used to be really classy. It used to be super classy part of town. Um, but yeah, so like that whole area, it was just really bad. Like I used to sell cellular phones in Cincinnati, and like you never know where you have to go and deliver them. And sometimes I had to go down to Over the Rhine, and basically you walk into a crack house to give somebody their phone, and I'm not making this up. It was the slums. It was terrible. It was really bad. Um, so imagine my surprise when flash forward to the 2020s. It's actually the popular part of town now. That's like where everybody goes. It's got great shopping. It's got great food. It's the up and coming spot because they went in and they just kind of just gutted it and remodeled it. It's pretty amazing. Um, how much that place has changed. Everyone is always Irish on St. Patrick's Day. That is so true. And Mexican on Cinco de Mayo. That's true. Except as Norwegians, we're always Norwegian. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I might have mentioned I have some nieces and nephews who live in Sweden. So I would love to go over there and see them. My folks got a chance to do that like a couple of years back, but I was busy and couldn't make it. I only get to really talk to them over like FaceTime and or Facebook Messenger, whatever that is. But they're pretty cool kids. I think growing up in Sweden, like obviously they weren't born in Sweden. They were born in America, so they kind of have like dual citizenship. But their mother ended up moving to Sweden, and the kids followed with her because they were still pretty young. And now they just kind of live over there, and they kind of have dual citizenship now. But it's kind of interesting to watch them grow up because they are young adults now, and it's kind of neat because like they're young adults in a totally different country. So they're young adults over in Sweden, so you get to see how how kids grow up in Sweden because it's totally a different culture over there. Um, they you know, the idea of like just traveling around Europe and stuff, that's not strange to them. You know, they just hop on a train or something and they're there. They don't I don't think they have a ton of money. So it's not like they're running around like world travelers or anything like that, but they are able to go and visit Germany and, you know, other parts of Europe and stuff, basically for a train ticket. And that's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting to watch them grow up in that kind of like lifestyle. Because if they had stayed here in the United States, they'd probably be a bunch of redneck hicks. They're like super cultured and stuff, but like I know what their life would have been like if they had stayed here in the United States. So I'm actually glad that they like I miss them. I really do, and I get to see them, you know, over like Facebook Messenger and stuff like that. But um, I think they're living a better life over there than they would have here, which is kind of strange. But that's just the reality of like how their life ended up. But they're having a good time over there. Um, I don't know if the schools are any better, like if they're learning anything over there that they wouldn't have learned over here. The school system's kind of weird over there. Like I think when they're teenagers, they go to university, which I always thought would be like college or something. I don't know if they're starting college early or if that's just what they call high school. I don't know. I don't know how these things work, but they can speak Swedish, which is always kind of interesting because like I have no idea what they're talking about, but it's kind of cool. Just a bunch of kids out there living their lives. So I wanted to test some. So I did add watercolor here. I mean, colored pencil here, but now I wanted to see if my idea that I can still come back over this with watercolor rings true. And yes, I can. So even though I just applied some colored pencil, like say I wanted to still kind of make this a little bit more blended, I can kind of blend it with watercolor, which is nice. Very nice. A little premature. I don't really want to do that yet. I'm just saying it is kind of cool. Let's see. All right, so I've got some other colors here. Again, not really set up in advance the way I should have been, but I think it's probably a good color to introduce. Please. Then I need a little bit of brown in there. Which brown? It's tough when you have so many different browns. You don't know which one. Scandinavian schools are top notch. That's my understanding. Again, I have no idea what they're learning over there, but they seem pretty well educated. My parents went over there, and you know, my parents are in Sweden for the first time. They're like, "Oh, hey, you know, show us what it's like to be in Sweden." So they went to like a castle or something. They learned a little bit about Swedish culture and stuff like that. But when it came time for the food, they're like, "Take us to the best restaurant that says Swedish food. We're gonna buy you a meal for you. We're gonna take you out. It's gonna be great and everything." So what do the kids want? The kids want fried chicken or something like that. I don't know specifically what it was, but it was definitely an American type thing. It had nothing to do with Swedish food, which I don't even know what Swedish food is. Like meatballs or something. I don't know. I don't know. To this day, I don't know. I've asked them and stuff, and they haven't given me a clear answer on that. Maybe they're not just not foodies, which is surprising to me because like I know my brother, their father is a huge foodie. He's a chef, and then their other uncle, my younger brother, he's a foodie. He really likes to go out to the nice restaurants and stuff like that. I'm like an anti-foodie myself. I appreciate good food, but also I reject the idea that we have to eat food at all. Like I find it personally offensive that we have to eat food. I, I kind of reject it. I'm like, what's this food eating business? Like, it's just nuts. Why are people doing this? Just stop. Stop the madness. There's no reason why we have to eat food. I mean, that's not true. Like, you have to eat food or else you die. But in my mind, it's a personal affront that we have to eat food. So again, this is a good example. I added a little bit of colored pencil, which I liked. I liked the color I added, but then I thought, hey, it might be nice to smooth it out. Now, it's important to note that I'm not really smoothing out the colored pencil. There's other techniques that you can do to do that. Like you can use like some sort of solvent. You can get in there, really burnish it with a blending stump. There's a bunch of different things, but it's the same net effect, right? So like if I'm coming in with some watercolor around that colored pencil, it's kind of filling in the cracks between them and so on. I think it's essentially the same net effect, and I like it. I just to me, there's no downside. One thing to note, like since I'm doing it, you know, and you guys don't really know what paper I'm using because I haven't told you. I am using watercolor paper here, and it's got a bit of a texture on it. So that's the only downside. So you have to fight that texture when you're working with colored pencils. You have to really press in there hard to get the colored pencil in between those cracks and so on. But again, it's not so much of a chore if you're coming back over it with watercolor and kind of filling in those blanks anyway. If that makes sense. So I think it's a good combination. Can use a white Prisma pencil to blend. Yes, you can. I do that often myself. It definitely helps. Um, and what's great about that is most, at least Hobby Lobby and Michael's Crafts, I don't know about any other art stores, but what's great is you can buy individual Prismacolor pencils. And, you know, you probably want to stock up on some white ones just because they're so useful. If you really press hard, you can get an opaque white out of it, but it's not like a bright white. That's why people sometimes supplement like a gel pen or something like that for that really bright white. But yeah, to Rome's point, you can blend with it as well. In a way that is kind of burnishing because you're like just kind of really pressing that stuff in there. But because it's partially transparent, white is a good color to use for that. Yeah, Rome knows his stuff. I feel like this does look like Rome Dog a little bit. You guys have similar dogs. All right, so we got a little bit of an eye, a little bit of eyes, and we got a little bit of nose on him. Um, mm, Let me work this nose just a little bit more. But I think that's a good start. I do want to move over to this other guy because this other guy's sitting over here without any kind of discernible features. And that's just not right. Let's see what we can get going on this guy. Again, pressing down really hard just to get in between those little cracks and stuff. And you can do this with watercolor. You don't have to do colored pencil. But one, I was asked for a drawing. So I feel like this is true to the spirit of the request. And two, I'm just better at drawing than I am at painting. I can get in here with some really small, fine paintbrushes, and I have become better at that. Like if you guys notice, I have been able to get some really fine detail, and with my coffee paintings I've been doing with a really fine brush, it's just I'm just not there yet as far as like feeling super confident about using those fine brushes. I need to practice, and I know I need to practice, and I never do. Sometimes I do. I don't know. Sometimes I use like a project is a good excuse to try something like that. But nice little eye look in there, I think. So I wanted to get a little bit of the yellow color in here in the eyeball. So it's not stark white. There you go. I'll do the same over here, just kind of preemptively. Thanks, okay, Larry. I'm glad you like it so far. Hopefully you think it looks like they're the puppies. The tough thing is, whenever you're drawing any picture, like any of you guys know this, that do art, on one hand, you've got to create a really nice looking picture. Then on the other hand, when it's a portrait, whether it's a dog portrait or a people portrait or anything recognizable, like say you're doing like the Grand Canyon or something, you're drawing a picture of the Grand Canyon or like some other recognizable landscape, you're doing some sort of landmark or something. Anytime you draw something recognizable, you have kind of a double challenge. One is that you have to create this really nice looking picture, but then also it has to be the thing that you're drawing, it has to be recognizable. And that's kind of tough because like you can make a really nice looking picture that doesn't look like the thing that you're drawing. And it's all fine except to the actual person who wanted the picture done because they know the difference. They know that this dog does not look like their dog, that sort of thing. So it is tough. You have to satisfy both things. So you have to make a really pretty picture and you have to make something that is has a likeness. And this isn't going to match the reference picture. I don't have the reference picture ready to show, but okay, Larry knows that in reality, these dogs were not sitting this close. To prepare for this picture, I had to like Photoshop it so that they were closer together. Those are some of the things you get to do with like artistic license. It's great. It's awesome. Awesome to have that kind of control. I think that's my tagline. It's awesome. I have that song stuck in my head whenever I say it's awesome. That everything is awesome song from oh, that song is so annoying, isn't it? But that song gets stuck in my head sometimes. I think if I ever had merch on this channel, my t-shirt would be like, it's going to be awesome. That would be like the tagline I would have on my t-shirt. You guys could buy my t-shirt and walk around with it's going to be awesome on your body. That would be cool. End up getting tattoos of it's going to be awesome. Which would actually be awesome. Ah, well, that's not awesome. So I am going to show you guys how to fix a mistake sometimes. So you grab some paper trash. And it's not a big deal as long as you catch it pretty quick. It's a lot easier without coffee paintings. But you can just kind of mop this stuff up. Fix that up a little bit. There you go. No harm. It's all good. Yeah, thanks, guys. Let's see. Rome Dog says it's hard to see the detail in the photo, but I got the picture. But the picture I got in person, hella detail. Neat. Oh yeah. So yeah, Rome Dog. I just sent out his picture recently. So yeah, he knows. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about, Rome. It does not these pictures on over the camera and stuff like that. They don't do it justice. Like the actual thing that you get when I send you a picture in the mail and stuff, it looks a little bit different. Sometimes it helps when you go to the community tab. Like if I post something up on the community tab and you open it up and it's like a little bit larger or something like that, you can see some of the detail in it that you can't really see just on camera, like while the stream's going and stuff like that. I wish I had a better camera to show all these things, but I just don't, and probably not going to get one anytime soon. So maybe one day I'll get that sorted out. I'm not really sure what kind of camera would work best anyway, to be honest with you. That's why I haven't really gotten one. I haven't really decided like what is appropriate. This is where like a dry brush kind of helps. Is like after you get all of that base color in, just kind of blot it out and stuff. This dry brush bit allows you a little bit more control over things, and you can get some like greater detail in there. Just like a little bit of water with some brown paint on it, I can get, you know, some of those darker areas in there. So anyway, little details. All right, so I'm going to try to get his nose. The goal here is at least tonight, I want to get a bit of a face in there and, you know, the eyes and stuff. And then I'll worry about like finishing it up at some other point. But I just want something good. I mean, what's our motto here? Something for, you know, the minimal viable product here is a decent thumbnail for the video. That's our definition of done on these streams. Doesn't have to all be done at one time, just has to look good in the thumbnail. Yeah, so I did Lorraine's two kitties. Lorraine's puppy is actually a good example of where I thought that it might be nice to do pastel, and then I ended up having to come back with colored pencil just because when I went to go seal it, it was very difficult to get it fully sealed. So I actually painted that picture or drew that picture twice, one in pastel pencil and then a second time in colored pencil. But yeah, I did her two kitties. I'm happy to do two dogs for people. It's just you know, a little bit more involved. That's all. It's just a bit of a challenge. The you know, the challenge is one, you know, it takes a little bit more time maybe, but also it's like the arrangement, you know, like how do they fit together so that they look nice. Lorraine's two kitties kind of came in the perfect arrangement anyway, because like, I don't know, I think she got those guys professionally photographed because they look really good. And these guys look like they get along. So I thought, I'll move them a little closer together. And I think that works. They look adorable. Yeah? Bad dream? Apparently my dog had a bad dream. Just decided to bark for no reason. Usually he has his bad dreams in the middle of the night and wakes us all up. I don't get any sleep with these animals. They stay up all night because I have a habit of staying up pretty late. And then they get up super early. So they get me up pretty early. And yeah, they're just not very sleep consistent. There you go. They sleep a lot throughout the day, which is probably leads a lot to their getting up pretty early and being generally a nuisance. Hey, creative boredom. They do look like two buddies. Yeah, they look like they really get along. Mama Q says, I'm on a bit of a family treasure hunt, tracking down my great-grandfather's painting. Wish me luck. Hey, that sounds awesome. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I don't know if that's something that involves some research or anything like that, but if you need some, let me know. I have a picture that I've been trying to track down the artist for. Um, there is a painting I did recently of a Bavarian, not a painting, but a drawing I did of a Bavarian guy. And I think I mentioned during that stream that that picture was based on this other picture that I have a watercolor picture of that my parents got painted in the 1970s. I'm trying to track down that artist, and I can't find him anywhere. I thought I had found him, but when I compared it to the signature on the actual painting, I think they're different people. I'm trying to track down this random artist who was painting pictures in Germany during the 1970s when my dad was over there and decided to buy a watercolor painting from him. So, so if there's any kind of research I can do to help you on your treasure hunt looking for your great grandfather's painting, you let me know. Unless that's something that is in your garage or something and you're having trouble finding it, I can't help you there. I don't know where anything is in my own garage, so no, I will not be able to help you. Anything else, I'm happy to help you with. Mama Q is an example of a piece of art that I haven't mailed out yet. I still haven't mailed out your Harry Potter picture. I apologize about that. I suck at those things. Get watercolor and some detail here. So this is an example of, you got to be careful with the watercolor and how it follows existing lines. So like there's a line of water in here somewhere. I'm not even sure where. And I just put down some watercolor and you can see it blends out with that line. So you got to be conscious of where water is on the paper. It's so fascinating. It really is the way of water, you know, when it comes to painting with watercolor. I'll put that eye there. This right here should come out to about right there. Sorry, I'm lost in detail here, guys. I'll be back on planet Earth here in a minute. There you go. All right, cool. Man, it's starting to look like a dog. I love it. Sorry, sometimes I impress myself. That looks like a freaking dog. My day is going great. How is your day, Creative Boredom? Just having a pretty good time drawing these dogs. Looking forward to the rest of the week. Still pretty early in the week. Anything can go right. Anything can go wrong. Don't know how it's going to go yet. I love to be surprised. You know, the other stream that I do on Thursdays, you pretty much know how the week's going to be. You're kind of giving up on it. You're looking forward to the weekend and maybe a new possibility of a better week the next week. But today, on Tuesday, it's all possibility. I love it. I love possibility. Like tomorrow, I've got some projects I'm working on. They could go bad. They could go good. I don't know yet. But I'd love to find out. Right now, they are all good things. Like, since they haven't happened yet, I'm going to count them as good things. I've got a couple of software projects I'm working on for clients. They're all in various shape, but I'm happy with how those are turning out. I've got a project of my own, software project that maybe I'll get around to soon. That I think will be cool. I don't want to give any details for it because, like, I don't know how it's going to turn out yet. I haven't started on it, so I don't really know how it's going to turn out. But when I have some details, maybe I'll share them with you guys. I think you guys are a cool group. You know, like, I like to share things with you guys that have nothing to do with anything. Like, has nothing to do with art or anything like that. Hey, I got a question for you guys. Oh, the other thing I was supposed to do, dang it, I keep forgetting some of these things that I'm supposed to do with you guys. I'm supposed to set up like a trivia thing. Maybe I can remember to do that before Thursday. Probably not, but I will try. Um, the other thing I kind of had a question about, and I'm not sure what's the best way to get you guys to chime in on this. Maybe start a comment thread or something. But I am kind of curious who your guys' favorite artists are. Because I was thinking about doing some videos where I'm not even drawing or painting or anything like that. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to go over some of my favorite art and why I like it and what are some of the cool aspects about it that that I would like to call you guys' attention to. So, for example, I really like Rembrandt. So I might pick a picture by Rembrandt and talk about like the light in it and why I like that. Maybe just whatever it is about the painting. I don't even know. I haven't even thought much about it yet. But um, if I'm going to do that, then I think it would be kind of cool to like learn from you guys what some of your favorite artists are, some of your favorite paintings, and so on. Like I can name off some of mine, but you guys may not be familiar with these people. You probably are. Like John Singer Sargent is one of my favorite, portrait artists. That guy's just like rock solid. You probably heard about him just because he was like so prolific. He created so many different paintings. But then also some of my other favorite artists, I've only come to like really like recently, the Forrest Fenn guys know that like Nikolai Fetchin, for example. You guys probably know who that is, but other people may not have no idea who Nikolai Fetchin is. And he's like one of my new favorite artists. So I think it'd be kind of cool to maybe like go over some of these artists and maybe like a particular picture of theirs or something and like why I like it. But I am super curious about who your guys' favorite artists are, if any. Maybe you guys never really developed a fandom of artists. That's cool. But if you had, I am interested. Um, I've always liked Impressionists. I'm not 100% clear on all the different artistic schools, so I would have to get educated on that if I just talked about paintings in general. Um, but I think I know enough about Impressionists to say, yeah, I like Impressionists. Um, some of the other art styles and stuff, I'm not really sure what their names are. I do like pictures that are quote unquote painterly. So like something where it's you can tell it's painted. It's realistic, but you can tell it's been painted because it's got a distinctive style to it. Like this, you can see my brush strokes and so on. You know that this is not a photo. That's what I mean by painterly. You see the method in the actual picture itself, or whatever. Like you can even see that it is watercolor. Like it's got a distinctive style to it. It's got a watercolor style. But if anybody's got some famous or favorite artists and stuff, that'd be kind of cool to like hear about. So maybe I'll throw up I don't know, discussion thread or something. I really like the that community tab for things like that. I really like doing that poll. That was so much fun. Like I just threw that question up there because I wasn't sure which picture I wanted to work on, and you guys really came through. You guys really jumped in. Like I don't remember how many people I got participating in that thing, but it was like more than I thought it would. Yeah, like your new impressionist shirt. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so like if that's a famous artist or like not famous, favorite artist of yours, I want to hear about it. Obviously, Da Vinci is my all-time favorite artist, but that's kind of like, too on the nose. Like everybody likes Da Vinci. Uh, if you guys have some favorite non-famous artists, obscure artists, things like that. Just somebody you saw in a museum once and you really liked or something. I think that would be kind of cool. All right. So I feel like I got a little bit more detail in this guy than I do over in this other one. So now I'm going to move back over to this guy since he's dried up a little bit. Let me clear my brush so that it doesn't have any of that orange in it. So this outside of his face, I feel like this should be much darker. And now this dried a bit, I can see that this is pretty light. How are we doing on time? We're all right. We're at like an hour 30. Yeah, like I said, this probably isn't, well, this definitely isn't going to be finished tonight, but that's okay. It's okay because we're having fun and it's looking decent. Okay, Larry's dogs are coming to life in this picture. It's all good. HR Ginger Escher Dolly. Oh, okay. The Giger guy, I don't know how to pronounce that. He's the guy who did those almost like alien kind of pictures, like Necronomicon, that sort of thing. The they look like basically the monster in Aliens. I think I know who you're talking about. That's pretty cool. I like um I like some of the more classic painters, but everybody's got a different thing. It's just funny that you like those artists, but then you're watching a guy painting a dog. This is definitely not that kind of art. I just realized that. Like, wait a minute. You like all of these surrealistic kind of art, little experimental type of art, and then you're watching a guy painting a very classic picture of dogs. That's funny. Oh, Tyler's talking about his find again. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, aliens. What's his thing? Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm familiar with the guy. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like very cool stuff. I like his stuff. I do like that kind of art in general. Like, especially like growing up when I was just looking for different kinds of things to draw. I don't remember when he got his start. Obviously, it would have been like sometime during the 80s. It's a beautiful dog. Got a little bit more detail in there than before. Let's see what I can get going down here. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good remainder of the week. I'm going to get my bottles done. I don't know. I don't think so. I have until the 28th to get those bottles done. But I am watching the clock and I'm like, there's still some things I need to do. So I don't think I'm going to get them done this week just because there's like, wait times in between processes. So like I still got to seal them and so on. So it probably will be next week before I can get them over there. So I am kind of cutting it close, but I like the progress. I think it's going well. And I enjoyed the process. So like I would totally sign up for other projects. They have some ones now and then. I would love to sign up for something that I don't think I can do, like a mural or something like that. Yeah, MC Escher, that's pretty cool. I do like Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali is one of the people that I think were really, really pushing the limits of art at the time. Certainly Picasso. for some reason everybody loves Picasso too. He was definitely pushing the limits of his time. I've seen some documentaries and stuff kind of going into his thing. There is a YouTube show called Great Art Explained. It's one of my favorite. There's a couple of channels like that, but Great Art Explained is consistently good. They go into the history of different paintings, different artists and stuff, and kind of like explain the behind the scenes of a particular work. Like for example, there was I mean, they basically have a episode on every famous piece of art. But so, for example, there's one where they're talking about a great Rothko painting. That's another one of my artists that I like Rothko, but it's hard to explain why. So, like his art, if you looked at it and you weren't into it, you could easily dismiss it and criticize it like, oh, that's just like fields of color and stuff. There's nothing to it. But when you get into like what he was trying to actually convey, which was like an emotion, like it's supposed to evoke some sort of like reaction from you and so on, it takes on like a whole different level of like appreciation. Um, I kind of like Rothko, not because he's a great artist or he really speaks to me per se. All of these things are probably true, but I like him mostly because when I was a young man, I used to skip school and go to like the art gallery. Like that was my thing. I used to skip school all the time and go and do things that I considered fun. And one of the things I considered fun was going to the art gallery because it was free. And like as a young man who didn't have any money, um, I really enjoyed going to places that were free. And the Cincinnati Art Museum was that type of place for me. So like I could hop a metro bus, go from the suburbs down to downtown Cincinnati and just kind of wander around and stuff and end up at the art museum because it's nice and free. And um, at the Cincinnati Art Museum, there is a Rothko painting that kind of drew me in when I was a kid. And it's always like really stood out to me, even though like the painter himself, like Rothko and stuff, I could take or leave the guy. This one particular painting, I really felt it. So everybody's got a thing. So like when I ask you like who your favorite artist is, it's not there's no right or wrong answer. It's whoever you like, and whoever you like is because something they did speaks to you. Like this Rothko painting spoke to me. If you ask me what is the meaning and purpose and all of that stuff of Rothko, I don't know. I'd say go to that Great Art Explained that did a episode of Rothko, and I mean I think the guy was pretty depressed. I think he was a sad guy. So like I don't really know why that one painting spoke to me because that whole his outlook on life definitely doesn't. I'm not a sad person. I'm actually pretty happy most of the time. Um, so I don't know. Anyway, my whole point is go watch Great Art Explained. It's a great YouTube channel, and they go into like all the like they talk about the Mona Lisa and all the ones you would expect, but also some other ones that you may be curious about. Like there was a lot of talk about the Gustav Klimt. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The Kiss, that painting. They have a very very great episode on the history behind that painting, and they go into the artist's like time period, what influenced the art, all of that sort of stuff. Like what the artist was into. I think in that Klimt guy, the artist was into like I don't know, he's just like women. But so that's what inspired that picture. Um, but a lot of great detail in these. It's almost like a little mini podcast. Like none of them are more than 15 minutes, so it's definitely worth your time. Anyway, hey, Lorraine's in the house. Hey, we were just talking about you earlier. These are Larry's dogs, Zeus and Bandit. We're trying to get some nice pictures going here. Partially watercolor, I think primarily watercolor at this point, and then also some details with colored pencils. So that's the approach. We're not going to get all this done tonight, but I think we're making pretty good progress. I mean, I think we got a good likeness going here. Larry can speak to this or not, but I think we got pretty good likeness. I like the direction it's going. And, don't get me wrong, I can still screw this up. I got the skill set to screw this picture up. Um, but I'm trying really hard not to. My painting is a Rembrandt stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum called Christ in the Storm on the Sea of Galilee. I got to see it before stolen. You got to see that before it got stolen? Oh my, wow. I am very familiar with that heist. Basically, every heist documentary, especially art heist documentary, covers the great Gardner, Gardner museum heist. Um, those pictures have never been recovered. It's a huge thing. What was it? Was it the 90s that happened? Or was it late 80s? I forget. Anyway, those priceless paintings have never been recovered. They they still have like the frames up on the wall and stuff to kind of like show in remembrance of them and stuff. But yeah, the Christ on the Sea, Storm on the Sea of Galilee was one of those. The one that everybody talks about, I think, is that Werner. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that is irreplaceable. That is like a one of a kind. Um, that's just sad. And what sucks is like so much time has gone by. I think it's been like 30 years or something. Yeah, maybe it was the 90s. So much time has gone by that the chances of this art still existing out there in the world, having not been destroyed, is very slim. It is truly a tragic story. If you're a fan of art and you value irreplaceable art, stuff that the masters painted and that you'll never see again, you know. Or it can't be duplicated. Well, I guess it can be duplicated, but not duplicated by the master's hand. That's like a Da Vinci. Da Vinci's are irreplaceable. This guy's looking cool. I like it. A little bit of a. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that story. It is sad. I'm so jealous that you got to go to it too. That's in Boston, right? Um, yeah, that's a. I like and my understanding is it's not a super large gallery compared to some of the other ones, but it's that the lady who started that museum just had a particular taste and she wanted particular pieces and stuff, and she collected them and then decided to open it up to the world. Um, I just love that. I would love to go to that gallery, to be honest. I'm a connoisseur of galleries. Like whenever I travel to a different town, I really want to go to their galleries if I can. You know, those are my churches, my the way I get culture in my life. Yeah, it's a small mansion. Yeah, that's so cool. I'm glad that you got to experience that before. I mean, arguably, like those paintings are lost forever. They may not exist anymore. You may have been one of the last people to see that. Because again, so much time has gone by. All the suspects that they have for it, like the people that they thought for sure it was this one guy. I forget his name, but they went and dug up his property and everything like that, and they found a place on his property that kind of had like a cavity in it that were perfect for hiding these things. They opened that up. What Nothing was in there. The guy went to his grave. I think, like his attorney said that like look, you're sick, you want to go and die in your own bed at home and everything, we can make that work, you just have to tell us where the paintings were. And the guy said, there are no paintings and stuff like that. And they're pretty sure that guy did it. So if he says there's no paintings, they might have been destroyed. Anyway, watch the documentaries for like greater detail. I'm not explaining it well, but anyway, I love. Not, I don't love that story. I hate that story, but I am familiar with that story, and it is a tragedy. The other thing about watercolor is I think it's supposed to be quicker than the way I do it. Like I feel like people who have more experience with watercolor, they can just kind of like zoom through it and stuff like that. For some reason, it seems to take me forever. Um, so I don't know. That's another reason why I don't do it all that often. But I don't know why it takes me so long compared to other people. I see other people kind of like maybe they're just more sure of themselves. So there is a chain that kind of comes through here, like a dog collar chain. I think I'm going to leave that mostly for colored pencil and gel pen to get those highlights in there. I don't think I'm going to be able to really get that in here well. Oh, it happened on St. Patrick's Day too. That's right. Rome Dog lost 40 Rome drawings. Oh, I'm so sorry. You have like 300 drawings of Rome. Man, that's awesome, dude. That's what artists should do, like find a subject and just keep doing it over and over again. I know, like probably even here, you guys get a little bored of watching me do the same pictures all over all the time. Like you're probably like, oh man, he's doing another dog picture. That sucks. This is gonna be boring. Um, but that's how you learn, that's how you practice and you get better at it and stuff. I mean, you guys who've been here for a while have seen my progress over the last year or so. It's only because I do similar pictures all the time. Like, even the portraits I do and stuff. I mean, I need to practice more with that because they're not as good. But I do the same subject matter. It's just so that you can get better. Now, I do like to challenge myself every now and then with something new. So that's important as well. But also, yeah, you have to do the same thing over and over and over again in order to be able to like master it. So I think it's awesome that you have 300 pictures of Rome Dog. Okay, Larry says, Rome, got to keep an eye on that pack. Yeah. So he's got some shadows in his tufts of fur. So I think I can get that with this watercolor with the like really light. Yeah. It's just like a kind of a light gray. Yeah, honestly, I think I can get a lot of this done with watercolor, and I don't know how much pencil it's going to take. But I do want to get some details in there, so it's definitely going to be some pencil, but I'm not convinced how much I need yet. That's all off-camera stuff. We're going to sort all that out later. Right now, it's just getting all the gist of it in. Um, you know, I don't feel like I say it enough, so I'm going to say it again. I really appreciate you guys coming in and watching this channel. I don't think I would be doing it without you guys in here watching. You guys are great people. Um, you guys always, you guys get along with each other, which is awesome. You guys always have the best conversations. I know that sometimes I get caught up in my pictures and I don't follow the conversations as closely as I could. I do apologize about that. I'm trying to get better at that. Um, it depends on the picture. So, like, sometimes I'm just drawing like a simple drawing or something. I feel like I can engage with the audience a little bit more. Pictures like this, where I'm actually having to look at the reference stuff more closely because it is an identifiable dog that has to look right. Uh, I feel like I get kind of lost on the conversation sometimes. But I do appreciate you guys. You guys are the best crowd. I don't deserve you guys. I know that. So every now and then, I just want to remind you guys how awesome you guys are and how much I appreciate you. I like Zeus. Zeus is looking good. All right. So I feel like Zeus is, let's see, he kind of has a paw wrapped. I don't know how I'm going to translate this because he's got a paw that's kind of wrapped back there. And then he's got kind of another paw kind of coming out down here. I'll have to come back to that and figure that stuff out later. I think somewhere around here. Thanks so much, Jeremy, for painting. Oh, it's my pleasure. Beautiful dogs. I appreciate you sending them to me. Honestly, I enjoy painting people's animals. I've said it many times, and it's still true. Out of all the things that I do, like I've been doing those coffee wildlife paintings this year, last couple months and stuff, just because people seem to enjoy them. But what I really enjoy doing is paintings that matter. Like, no one has a personal attachment to an owl out in the woods. Maybe they do. I don't know. People are different, but I doubt anybody has a pet deer or a pet raccoon or something like that out in the woods. Like when I paint those pictures, it probably doesn't resonate with anybody on the same level as like a personal portrait of their pet or a family member or whatever. Um, and of course, those things are the stuff that really make me feel good about um, doing things. Is when it really resonates with the. This might be a little bit dark. Let's see, this kind of lines up with the eye. This kind of comes down here. Just kind of eyeballing it, but I think that's his like. Yeah, sorry, I got lost on a tangent there. Um, yeah, so the art that really speaks to me is the stuff that means something to you guys. You know. Hey Tom, how's it going? Yeah, this is okay. Larry's pups, Zeus and Bandit. Zeus and Bandit. Sorry, I had to figure out where that leg was there. That's why I droned off and got quiet for a moment. I feel like I can speed up the amount of time it takes to work in watercolor. I don't know why it does take me so long. I mean, I don't care, like if it takes like 5 hours and you get a really cool picture out of it, that's time well spent. I've seen other people do watercolor and it just seems like they're so much faster at it. Look at how I hold my pen. And like you got to get over holding your paintbrush in a particular way. Like you just got to use whatever it makes sense. Like in this case, it makes sense too. Just kind of hold it like this. That's funny. I crack myself up sometimes when I observe how I do things. Have a good one, BIC. Good night. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm probably actually going to wrap this up pretty soon. Coming up on the 2 hour mark. Like I don't see this changing too much tonight. Let's see, this needs to come up a little bit. Yeah, this is actually where this paw needs to end. Yeah, so I'm probably going to wrap this up for the night. But I think this is good introductory progress. So yeah, sure, it's not done yet and stuff like that, but these things really are, like these. I think Lorraine's took me 2 2 days as well, and Kid's dogs definitely took me a couple of days, but you know, she had 2 dogs. So, hey, kid, if you ever want me to draw your dogs together, you let me know. I'm happy to do that. Because I feel like I owe you like a few more pieces just for like you loyal people who have been here forever. You guys are basically entitled to whatever you guys want. I just like adore you guys. So if I can create pictures for you guys, you let me know. I'm your personal artist. I want you guys to think of me that way. I'm here to serve. Hater says, Jeremy, your artistic creations are truly exceptional. These dogs appear incredibly adorable and realistic. Your talent as an artist is undeniable. I couldn't look away from the screen for a second. I am going to take that and I'm going to put that in a reviews section somewhere. I appreciate that. That is well said, well stated. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna start a review like feedback section somewhere. I'm gonna add that to it. That sounds great. I want to be whoever you're talking about. I don't identify with who you're talking about, but I want to be that guy. Whenever I have a goal, I always like to phrase it that way. I want to be the type of guy who, whatever the goal is. So, like, if I want to be more punctual, I want to be the type of guy who is more punctual. I want to be the type of guy who is more creative. I want to be the type of guy who draws really beautiful dogs, or paints beautiful dogs in this case. I have to get up early as well. Jeremy, awesome job. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. I think we're in a good spot. This is a good start. Didn't get as far as what, you know, I could have maybe, but I'm happy with what I've got in here. I think it looks like the picture. I wish I could show you the original, but maybe I'll do that when it's all said and done. Larry, I've got pictures of me feeding raccoons. Maybe kid does have actual pet raccoons. That's cool. Lorraine says, my favorite part is how you capture the look in their eyes. They have a lot of personality. These guys, they have the most expressive eyes, and they really come through in the reference picture. I feel like this guy's eyes needs to brighten up. They're really bright in the reference picture, but I'll come back and work on that. But yeah, I appreciate you noticing that. But I think this is a pretty cool watercolor picture. Like, even if I just stopped here and stuff, it's kind of cool. Like, there's a lot more that I want to put in here, but I think that this is a good start for a watercolor picture. But anyway, I am going to wrap this up for the night because we are at the 2-hour mark, and I know some of you guys are dropping off. It's a weeknight. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Zeus and Bandit, and I'll try to get a something together of the rest of the bit, like where I'm finishing them up. But for tonight, I think that that's a good progress. All right. So anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Like I said, as far as the announcements go, I do almost have my Maker's Mark bottles done. I'm going to show those off to you soon. Like some of you guys have expressed interest in maybe bidding on one. So again, that auction's not until like April 11th, so we'll revisit that one. If you do want to bid on one or something, feel free to shoot me an email or something, kind of pledge an amount or something, and then maybe we'll make a bid. This is what I have in my mind is we'll come up with like pledge amounts and then maybe make a bid towards that. But there's no like pressure or anything like that. None of the money goes to me, so it's entirely up to you guys. But that's something that you guys seem to want to do. My dad already decided he was going to put some money towards trying to bid on a bottle. A donator put some money up towards it. So we've got some legs here. We'll see how it goes though as we get closer to that day. But yeah, I think that's about it for me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and call it. You guys have a great rest of your week. Have a great evening. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. You guys are awesome. Yeah, this was a fun one. All right, I'll see you guys later. As I make progress on this picture, I'll post it up on the community tab, so keep an eye out on there. All right, see ya. Bye. Have a good one.